before you rush into your day, pause for just a moment. Because hidden beneath the familiar stories of Scripture are mysteries that can reshape the way you think, the way you live, and the way you see God. Welcome to Faith Thinkers, where we don't just read the Bible, we enter it. The Word before time and the light that entered the world. From the Gospel of John, the most mysterious and powerful story ever told. Elias never meant to become a storyteller. In the early years, he considered himself nothing more than a witness, an ordinary man who had seen an extraordinary truth walk across the surface of the earth. But as he grew older, the memories pressed against his heart like waves against a cliff. Some truths, he realized, must be spoken again and again so the world doesn't forget. He had settled in a quiet home on the cliffs of Santorini, Greece, where white stone houses glowed under the sun and the sea shimmered like a sheet of glass. From his balcony, he would watch fishermen cast nets, hear the chatter of children, and feel life moving forward. Yet within him lived a story older than time itself, one he could neither hold back nor fully contain. Tonight, like many nights before, Elias lit a small clay lamp and stood by the open window. The scent of the Mediterranean breeze drifted in, and the sky stretched above him, deep, dark, endless. It reminded him of the night long ago when everything he believed about the world changed forever. He touched the edge of his writing scroll and whispered to himself, "In the beginning, before the first dawn, he already was." And so he began the story. 1.1 A Cosmic Beginning. The story before stories. Before oceans breathed, before mountains broke the surface of the young earth, before galaxies swirled into existence, there was the origin light. Not a flame, not a star, not an energy drifting in the void, but a being, a presence older than matter, older than time, older than human imagination. Elias described him not as a concept or myth, but as a person, one who existed with God and yet was God in perfect unity, like melody and harmony woven into one eternal song. He tried to explain it for people who grew up surrounded by science, logic, and the relentless pace of modern life. He said, "If the universe had a heartbeat, he is the one who set it in motion. If existence is a symphony, he is both the composer and the first note. The origin light was the force through which every atom gained purpose, every living creature gained breath, and every human soul gained meaning. He wasn't created. He wasn't born in the ordinary sense. He was being itself, truth wrapped in flesh, eternity condensed into a single presence." When Elias talked about him, he spoke with quiet awe, as if recalling the moment a veil had been lifted from reality itself. He walked among us, Elias would say, but he existed long before us. And the mystery is not that he came to earth, but that he chose to. 1.2 Darkness versus Light, a Human Condition. Before Elias met the light, he knew what darkness felt like. And he wasn't talking about the absence of sunlight. He meant the familiar invisible darkness Americans know today, the pressure to perform until your soul cracks the fear of not being enough, the exhaustion hiding behind a polished smile, the loneliness that hits even in a crowded room, the shame, regret, and stories we bury under layers of busyness, the quiet question that haunts us at night. Is there something more? Darkness, Elias understood, wasn't a monster hiding in a cave. It was the emptiness inside people's hearts, the kind that no amount of success, comfort, or distraction could fix. When the origin light stepped into the world, He didn't shine like a spotlight or burst like a fireworks display. His light moved differently. It reached where therapy cannot touch it. Healed wounds too buried for words, it gave clarity when logic was overwhelmed. It restored dignity when shame had ruined everything. It spoke identity into souls starving for worth. Elias often said, "The tragedy is not that darkness exists. The tragedy is when humans accept it as home." Many people today think of faith as a set of rules, a list of good deeds, or a spiritual hobby. Elias saw something more profound. He saw a world drowning quietly, people scrolling endlessly, numbing their pain, chasing validation in careers or relationships or noise. And he saw how the light gently confronted all of it. "Light doesn't shame the darkness," Elias wrote. "It exposes it, and in exposing it, frees the one trapped inside." But the world wasn't ready for that freedom. 1.3. A messenger appears, a man sent to witness. Long before the origin light walked the streets of Jerusalem, before his voice echoed against the walls of ancient temples, another voice cried out. Not from a cathedral, not from a capital city, not from a place of influence, but from the edge of the Sonoran Desert, under a sunburned sky, where the earth cracked open from heat and silence ruled the wilderness. His name was Gabriel the Forerunner. He wasn't refined, he wasn't wealthy. He didn't have eloquent speeches or polished sermons, but he had truth, raw, burning, unapologetic truth. Crowds traveled miles to hear him, from Phoenix suburbs to remote desert towns. They came because Gabriel said things no one else dared to say. He confronted brokenness straight on. He challenged the religious elite who hid behind rituals. He called ordinary people to return to authenticity, to strip off spiritual pretense, to prepare their hearts for someone far greater. He baptized people in the cool desert springs, symbolizing a new beginning, a cleansing of the heart. But Gabriel always insisted, "I am not the light. I am only the voice preparing you to see him." When he spoke, it felt like thunder. When he prayed, it felt like the heavens leaned close. And when he saw the origin light approaching from the distance, he whispered something that would change history. There, he is. 1.4. The light enters the world, and the world misunderstands. The origin light stepped into humanity quietly, not as a king, not as a scholar, not as a warrior, but as a humble teacher with dust on his sandals and compassion in his eyes. Yet most people didn't recognize him. Elias reflected on this with heartbreak. How could the one who authored existence walk past his own creation and be ignored? But the same thing happens today. People crave meaning yet reject the one who gives it. People search for identity but avoid the one who defines it. People chase spiritual experiences but overlook the source of all spirit. People want help but fear surrender. People want healing but resist honesty. People want peace but cling tightly to control. Elias wrote, "The world doesn't reject the light because it is untrue. It rejects him because he reveals what we try so hard to hide." In his presence, masks fall away, pretenses crumble, pride falters, self-constructed identities shake. And that is terrifying for anyone who has built their life around the illusion of independence. But the light did not come to expose us to destroy us. He came to reveal us so he could heal us. 1.5. The first followers. Curiosity that turns into calling. The first time Elias saw the origin light, he was a younger man. Restless, thoughtful, searching, hungry for something he couldn't name. He and his friend Adrian had followed Gabriel for months, drawn to his honesty, his spiritual fire, and the raw sincerity in his voice. But Gabriel had never claimed to be the answer, only a sign pointing to the answer. So when Gabriel whispered, "There, he is," everything shifted. The Origin Light was walking along a shoreline in a quiet fishing town similar to Valletta, Malta. The breeze carried the scent of salt water and aging nets. Elias felt something inside him move, like his soul recognized someone his mind had never met. Adrian nudged him. "Should we go?" Elias swallowed hard. "We have to." They followed him at a distance at first, unsure what to say. The Origin Light turned suddenly, as if he had known they were there all along. His gaze was not intimidating. It was welcoming. It was knowing. "What are you seeking?" he asked. Elias would never forget that question. It pierced deeper than his fears, deeper than his dreams, deeper than everything he thought he wanted. That question is still piercing people today. People in office cubicles, in quiet apartments, in marriage counseling sessions, in moments of silent crisis. Adrian answered, "Where are you staying?" The Origin Light smiled. "Come and see." Those words changed their lives, not because they were poetic, because they were an invitation, not to a religion, not to a doctrine, but to a relationship. Later that day, Elias would meet Silas, a fisherman with strong hands, a loud laugh, and a heart that swung between courage and doubt like a pendulum. Silas became one of the most passionate followers, though he would later struggle, fail, rise again, and find redemption in ways that mirrored the journey of many believers today. Each follower came with stories just like modern Americans. Some were ambitious, some were wounded, some were skeptical, some were ashamed, some were spiritually numb. But the light didn't choose them for their perfection. He chose them for their potential. 1.6. Key emotional takeaway. The heart of Part 1 could be summarized in a single truth Elias repeated often. Humans keep looking for meaning in every corner of the earth, except the one who created meaning. We chase it in. Promotions, relationships, fitness goals, personal branding, religious performance, political identity, self-help philosophies, social acceptance, independence, and self-reliance. But the light offers something deeper: identity, purpose, wholeness, freedom, a home for the soul. Elias wrote, "The light does not simply illuminate the world. He illuminates us, and that is where the story truly begins." Part 2. The Journey of Signs. Miracles that reveal a greater truth. From the Gospel of John, the most mysterious and powerful story ever told. Elias often said that following the Origin Light felt like walking through a world where the laws of nature bent. Not recklessly, not for spectacle, but with a precision that spoke directly to the human heart. The miracles weren't magic tricks, they were messages. Each one peeled back layers of misunderstanding, revealing who the light truly was and what he came to accomplish. The journey of signs didn't begin with thunder or fire, but with something simple, almost unnoticed, at a celebration that should have been filled with joy. 2.1. A wedding in Florence, the first sign. The golden sun dipped behind the terracotta rooftops of Florence, Italy, as violins played softly across a courtyard surrounded by orange blossoms. The wedding feast was elegant, overflowing with color, laughter, and hope. Guests toasted, lights shimmered, and the atmosphere carried that rare mix of nostalgia and possibility. It was the kind of event where people forget their worries and believe, even if only for a moment, that life is generous after all. Elias wasn't among the inner circle at first. He and the others were simply guests, following the origin light wherever he traveled. But there was someone far more attuned to the moment than they were. Mara, the mother of the origin light. Mara had a way of noticing things before anyone else did. She saw when a child looked lonely at a festival, or when a widow needed help lifting water from a well. And on this night, she noticed the host's greatest fear quietly unfolding. The wine had run out. In a culture of honor like theirs, this was more than inconvenience. It was humiliation, one that could haunt the newlyweds for years. The music played on, but there was a tension beneath it. Whispered conversations, apologetic looks, a quiet dread. Mara approached her son with gentle urgency. "They have no wine," she said. The light looked at her, not dismissive, not irritated, but with a depth that hinted at mysteries far larger than the crisis at hand. "Why do you involve me?" he asked softly. "My time has not yet come." But Mara recognized something in his eyes. She turned to the servants with confidence that surprised even Elias. "Do whatever he tells you." Those 6 words opened history's first door to miracle. Large stone water jars stood nearby, used for ceremonial cleansing, empty inside, ordinary on the outside. The light instructed them, "Fill the jars with water." The servants hesitated, confused, but they obeyed. Then, "Now draw some and take it to the master of the feast." What happened next spread through the courtyard like a spark catching dry leaves. The master tasted the water and froze. His eyes widened. He called for the groom. "Everyone brings out the best wine first," he said, astonished, "but you have saved the best for last." The water had become wine, rich, fragrant, alive with a flavor no vineyard on earth could produce. Elias watched the origin light from across the courtyard. He didn't draw attention to himself. He didn't lift his hands in dramatic fashion or wait for applause. He simply looked at the bride and groom with quiet joy, as if whispering a truth deeper than the miracle itself. "I have come not only to restore what life has taken, but to give more than you ever thought possible." And thus the first sign was given. Not to show power, but to show heart. 2.2. Healing the official son, hope that Travel Miles News travels fast, especially when desperation listens. In Boston, a high-ranking official named Marcus Hale had a son lying at death's door. Doctors tried everything. Nothing worked. Every breath the boy took sounded like a clock ticking down. Marcus had influence, wealth, and connections, but none of them mattered now. He needed something no human could offer. When he heard rumors about the origin light performing wonders in Florence, he didn't hesitate. He traveled for days, pushing through crowds in the humid summer air of the Northeast, until he found the light speaking to a small group near the Charles River. Marcus fell to his knees. "Please, come with me before my son dies." The light looked at him with eyes that saw deeper than grief. "Unless you see signs, you will not believe," he said. Not with frustration, but with compassion for the human tendency to anchor faith only in visible miracles. Marcus's voice cracked. "Sir, please come before he is gone." The light stepped closer and placed a hand on Marcus's trembling shoulder. "Go," he said. "Your son will live. No spectacle, no ritual, no journey back to Boston, just a word." Marcus stood frozen. Something in the light's tone, gentle yet authoritative, cut through his panic. He didn't understand how, but he believed. He walked home, each mile heavy with uncertainty yet lifted by hope. And while he was still far from home, servants ran out to meet him. "Your son lives." Marcus collapsed in relief. "When? When did he start to get better?" "At the 7th hour," they said. "His fever broke." Marcus counted the hours. That was the exact moment the origin light had spoken. For the first time, Marcus realized the miracle wasn't only that his son had been healed. The greater miracle was that faith had sparked in a heart long trapped in control and intellect. It wasn't only a healing, it was a revelation. 2.3. The healing at the springs of Capernaum Hills, breaking invisible chains north of Sedona, Arizona. There's a place where red rock cliffs rise like ancient guardians, and natural springs form pools of quiet blue water. They call it the Capernaum Hills Springs, a spot where travelers often tried unusual remedies and spiritual rituals in hopes of finding healing. It was here that the origin light encountered a man who had been paralyzed for 38 years. His name was Darian, and he had spent nearly 4 decades lying on a mat, surrounded by stories of superstition and false hope. Elias remembered how empty the man's eyes looked, like someone who had stopped dreaming long ago. The light approached and asked the most unexpected question. "Do you want to be made well?" To bystanders, it sounded strange. Of course he wanted healing, but the light wasn't asking about his body. He was asking about his will. Darian answered, "Sir, I have no one to help me into the spring. Others always go ahead of me." He spoke as a man whose life had been shaped by disappointment. The light didn't argue. He didn't comfort him with cliches. He didn't blame him for his hopelessness. He simply said, "Stand, pick up your mat, walk." And the words didn't just enter Darian's ears, they entered his bones. Strength surged into legs long forgotten. Muscles awakened. Hope returned like lightning striking dry earth. He stood. He walked. He cried like a child who had never known freedom until now. Elias watched, stunned. This wasn't only a physical miracle, it was a rebirth. Because sometimes the deepest paralysis isn't in our limbs. It's in our hearts, our dreams, our belief that life could be different. 2.4. Feeding the multitude at Lake Tahoe, when scarcity meets abundance. The origin light's reputation spread fast, drawing crowds from every direction. Near the crystal shores of Lake Tahoe, where pine forests meet cold, shimmering water, thousands gathered on a hillside to hear him teach. Families brought blankets. Fishermen left docks behind. Young men climbed rocks for a better view. Even skeptics came, drawn by curiosity mixed with hunger, both physical and spiritual. But as hours passed, people grew weary. Children cried. Mothers worried, and there was almost no food. Adrian approached the light, anxious. "These people need to eat. We should send them home." Silas added, "Even months of wages wouldn't buy enough bread." The light didn't panic. He looked across the crowd and saw exhaustion, fear, need. He turned to Elias. "What do you have?" Elias hesitated. "Only a boy's meal, 5 small loaves and 2 fish." Too small, too simple, too insignificant, which made it perfect for a miracle. "Have the people sit," the light said. He took the loaves into his hands. He looked up toward the sky. He gave thanks, not for enough, but for what little they had. Then he broke the bread, and he kept breaking it, and he kept breaking it, and it never ran out. Elias couldn't explain how it happened. The baskets simply never emptied. Food multiplied like hope expanding inside every heart. The crowd went silent as abundance flowed through hands that once held scarcity. When the meal was over, 12 baskets of leftovers remained, and Elias realized God doesn't just meet needs, He exceeds them. Not because of what we bring, but because of what we surrender. 2.5. Walking on water, confronting human fear. Night fell quickly on Lake Michigan. The wind picked up, pushing waves into the hull of the disciples' small fishing boat. The sky was pitch black, the kind of darkness that makes the world feel hollow. They were rowing hard, struggling against the current. Elias remembered Silas's voice, gruff, steady, trying to keep everyone calm. But then someone saw it, a figure walking across the water. At first, panic exploded inside the boat. It's a spirit. It's a sign of death. But the voice that answered cut through the storm like a calm blade. It is I. Do not be afraid. The origin light was walking on the waves as if the chaos itself had become his path. Silas, trembling, called out, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come." "Come," the light replied. Silas stepped onto the water. For a moment, the impossible happened. He stood. He walked. He moved toward the light. Then the wind howled. A wave crashed. Fear seized him, and he began to sink. "Save me," he cried. The light caught him immediately. "You of little faith," he said gently. "Why did you doubt?" When they climbed into the boat, the storm stopped instantly, and Elias realized something profound. The miracle wasn't that the light walked on water. It was that he invited a human to walk with him. Fear screamed. Faith whispered. Faith won until fear shouted louder. Just like today. 2.6. Raising Leor, the greatest sign before the cross. The most mysterious and powerful sign before the final hour happened in the bustling port city of Marseille, France. There, in a stone house overlooking the sea, lived siblings who were close friends of the light, Mira, Sarah, and their brother Leor. Leor was beloved, kind, thoughtful, trustworthy. So when word came that he was dying, urgent messengers were sent to find the light. But the origin light didn't rush. This confused everyone, including Elias. When they finally arrived, Leor had already been in the tomb for 4 days. The house was filled with mourners. Mira wept bitterly. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Her words cut with honesty familiar to anyone who has prayed for a miracle that didn't come in time. The light said gently, "Your brother will rise again." "I know," she replied, "at the resurrection, someday." He looked at her, not with pity, but with authority. "I am the resurrection. I am the life. Anyone who believes in me will live, even after dying." They walked to the tomb carved into a hill. A stone blocked the entrance. The light spoke. "Remove the stone," Sarah protested. "Lord, the smell." But the stone was moved. The light lifted his face toward heaven. He prayed. Then he shouted with a voice that shook the air, "Leor, come out!" A gasp rippled through the crowd. Footsteps echoed. Shadows shifted. Leor stepped out of the tomb, alive, breathing, wrapped in burial cloth. Mira screamed and fell to her knees. Sarah sobbed into her hands. People cried, shouted, collapsed in shock, and Elias realized the deepest truth of all. Death is no match for the one who authored life. Emotional conclusion of Part 2. The journey of signs wasn't just a sequence of miracles. It was a revelation that God cares about everyday embarrassment, the wedding, that he heals long-distance prayers, Marcus's son, that he breaks internal prisons, Darien, that he multiplies what we surrender, Lake Tahoe, that he walks with us where fear reigns, Lake Michigan, that he conquers the greatest enemy of all, Leor's resurrection. Each sign didn't just show power. It showed purpose, a message, a glimpse into the heart of the eternal light. And Elias, watching each miracle unfold, understood something new. The signs were never the destination. They were invitations to trust, to follow, and to believe. Part 3. The Great Confrontation, where light meets human power and brokenness. From the Gospel of John, the most mysterious and powerful story ever told. Of all the mysteries Elias witnessed during his years with the Origin Light, nothing shook him, nothing unsettled him, inspired him, or revealed the truth of the world around him as deeply as the confrontations that came next. If the signs had been invitations, gentle doors opened for the humble and hungry. Then the confrontations were mirrors, uncomfortable, unavoidable, held up to the faces of those who believed they already had the answers. This part of the story wasn't just about conflict between people. It was about the collision of two kingdoms, the fragile realm built by human pride, and the unshakable realm built by eternal truth. What erupted across cities, temples, marketplaces, and mountainsides wasn't political rebellion or social upheaval. It was the moment light began exposing every shadow it touched. 3.1. Nightfall in Jerusalem, a conversation with a hidden heart. It was deep into the evening in Jerusalem, the night air cool and rich with the scent of olive trees. Lamps flickered in narrow alleyways, and the distant hum of the city sank beneath a blanket of silence. Elias remembered the moment a robed figure approached quietly, keeping to the shadows. His name was Nicaro, a respected teacher of the law, known for his brilliance, his precision, his devotion. People trusted him. Young students quoted him. Leaders admired him, but none of them knew the turmoil that kept him awake at night. He came to the Origin Light in secrecy. "Teacher," Nicaro whispered, "no one could perform the signs you're doing unless God were with you." It was a statement wrapped in admiration and fear. He wanted answers, but without risking his reputation. The Origin Light didn't flatter him. He went straight to the truth that Nicaro didn't even know he was searching for. No one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again. Nicaro stiffened. How can someone be born when they are old? The light's voice softened but remained firm, like a gentle river cutting a canyon. You must be born of water and spirit. Flesh gives birth to flesh, but spirit gives birth to spirit. They spoke about wind, truth, transformation, redemption. Nicaro listened like a man starving, but also terrified. Then came the words that shook him. Words that would echo for generations. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Elias watched Nicaro's face change, confusion melting into awe, awe fighting with fear. Because truth wasn't the only thing confronting Nicaro that night. His identity was, his status was, his certainty was. The light hadn't come to overthrow the Romans. He had come to overthrow the lies people believed about God, themselves, and freedom. Nicaro slipped back into the darkness, torn between the world he built and the truth he encountered. And Elias wondered how many would make the same choice. 3.2. Confronting the marketplace, clearing what should never have been there. Every spring, Jerusalem swelled with travelers, families arriving from distant deserts, merchants crossing borders, priests preparing endless ceremonies. When Elias entered the temple courts with the origin light during Passover, he expected reverence, holiness, awe. Instead, he heard bargaining, arguing, coins clinking, animals braying, merchants shouting over one another. The temple, meant to be the meeting place between God and his people, had become a financial machine. Sacrifices were sold at inflated prices. Money changers profited from sacred rituals. Poor families were humiliated for being unable to afford what others could. The origin light stood in the center, his face still and controlled, but his eyes burning with sorrow and divine anger. Then it happened. With a force that startled even Elias, the light overturned the tables. Coins scattered across the stone floor. Cages shook as doves fluttered wildly. Merchants scrambled, shouting in confusion. The light's voice rose above the chaos. "My Father's house is meant to be a house of prayer. You have turned it into a marketplace." It wasn't rage for rage's sake. It was justice, the kind that restores dignity to the oppressed. In that moment, Elias realized, God isn't passive in the face of corruption. He confronts it. He dismantles it. He protects those who cannot protect themselves. This act made the leaders furious, threatened, cornered, and the path toward conflict sharpened. But to the poor, to the forgotten, to the broken, it was the first time someone had defended them in the temple. 3.3. A woman at the well, breaking barriers. No one else would dare. Days later, the origin light traveled north through Samaria, stopping near a well in a small town outside Jericho. The sun was scorching. The disciples had gone to buy food. Elias rested in the shade. That's when she appeared. A woman alone, carrying a jar, avoiding eye contact, avoiding everyone, it seemed. Jewish teachers never spoke to Samaritan women. Rabbis never held conversations with people carrying scandal. Men never sat alone with women in public. But the light spoke first. "Will you give me a drink?" She froze. "You ask me? A Samaritan woman?" "If you knew the gift of God," the light said, "you would have asked me, and I would have given you living water." Living water, not from the well, but from the heart of God. The woman's defenses faltered. Her questions softened. Her pain surfaced. And in a moment of tender confrontation, the light revealed the most painful truth about her life. Not to shame her, but to heal her. "You have had 5 husbands. The man you now live with is not your husband." Her eyes filled with tears, not humiliation, but freedom. Someone finally saw her, fully, completely, and did not turn away. The light spoke of worship, true worship that wasn't bound by mountain or temple, but by spirit and truth. He told her the Messiah was coming. Then he said something he hadn't said openly to anyone else. "I who speak to you am he." Elias watched her jar drop to the ground. She ran through the streets shouting, "Come see a man who told me everything I ever did." It was the confrontation no one expected. Grace confronting shame. Truth confronting brokenness. Love confronting isolation. And the woman became the first evangelist of her region. 3.4. The blind man in Barcelona. When light exposes spiritual blindness. In Barcelona, the disciples encountered a man blind from birth. Tourists walked past Gothic cathedrals, Street musicians played soft Spanish melodies. Yet this man sat unseen, defined by his disability. Who sinned? The disciples asked. This man or his parents? The light shook his head. Neither. This happened so the works of God might be displayed in him. He knelt, mixed mud with his own saliva, and gently rubbed it over the man's eyes. Go wash in the pool near La Sagrada Familia. The man obeyed. Minutes later, shouts echoed down the street. I can see! I can see! Crowds gathered. Neighbors stared. Religious scholars interrogated him. How were your eyes opened? Do you really believe that man healed you? Give glory to God, not to him. But the man stood firm. One thing I know, I was blind, and now I see. The leaders grew furious. They expelled him from the synagogue, but the light found him again. Do you believe in the Son of Man? Who is he? The man asked. You have seen him, the light said. It is he who is speaking with you. The man fell to his knees. Then the light delivered his sharpest confrontation yet. For judgment I have come into this world, so that the blind may see, and those who claim to see may become blind. Spiritual blindness, that was the deeper enemy. Pride that refused truth even when truth restored sight. 3.5. The Shepherd's Voice. Confrontation through clarity. In the hills outside Denver, shepherds still tend flocks on grazing lands where the air is crisp and the mountains carve an endless horizon. It was here that the Origin Light taught one of his most confrontational messages, not through anger, but through unmistakable clarity. I am the Good Shepherd, he declared. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Elias felt something shift in the crowd. People leaned in, some cheered, some frowned, some whispered accusations. Because in Israel's language, shepherd wasn't just a metaphor. It was a royal title, a divine title. Only one being in their faith history was called the true shepherd, God himself. So when the light said, I know my own, and my own know me, leaders bristled. When he added, no one takes my life from me. I lay it down of my own accord. The tension snapped like dry twigs under pressure. This man is insane, some cried. He has a demon, shouted others. But many others whispered, no, no one who is evil speaks like this. No one evil opens the eyes of the blind. It was the confrontation between certainty and possibility, between hardened tradition and unexpected truth. 3.6. Growing tension. When light reveals what darkness cannot hide from Florence to Boston, from Barcelona to Jerusalem, confrontations erupted everywhere the Origin Light walked. Not because he sought conflict, but because everything hidden becomes visible in the presence of perfect light. He confronted corrupted religion, hardened heart systems that crushed the poor pride disguised as intelligence, fear disguised as faith, shame disguised as rebellion, power disguised as righteousness. And through every encounter, one truth grew undeniable. The world wasn't rejecting his miracles. It was rejecting his identity. The light didn't come to improve the world's systems. He came to expose them, so he could redeem what was broken beneath them. Elias began to notice how the leaders watched him with increasing hostility. Meetings were held, plots whispered, strategies crafted. They felt threatened, not because he harmed anyone, but because he refused to fit their expectations. Some hated him for his authority. Others envied his influence. Others feared losing control. Others simply couldn't accept a truth they didn't initiate. Hostility grew like a storm forming far offshore, quiet at first, then louder, then impossible to ignore. Elias could feel destiny tightening around them, like a script unfolding that no human hand could rewrite. 3.7 Emotional conclusion of Part 3. Part 3 of this story wasn't merely about conflict, it was about clarity. The origin light didn't come to be neutral. He came to reveal what was holy, what was corrupt, what was true, what was broken, what was possible, what was eternal. The confrontations were invitations for people to choose, cling to the comfort of darkness or step into the risk of light. Some, like Nicaro, the Samaritan woman, and the blind man, embraced truth even when it exposed their wounds. Others, like the merchants, the scholars, and the temple elite, rejected it because it exposed their power. Elias realized that the closer the light came to revealing his full identity, the more violently the darkness resisted, and this resistance would soon reach its climax. Because the greatest confrontation, the one that would shake heaven and earth, was only moments away. Part 4. The Hour of Mystery. Love, Sacrifice, and the Shadows That Could Not Overcome Him from The Gospel of John, the most mysterious and powerful story ever told. Elias would one day look back on these moments and realize that everything, every miracle, every confrontation, every whispered conversation under starlight, had been leading here, to the days when the air seemed heavier, the roads quieter, and the origin light more focused than ever. It wasn't tension he sensed. It wasn't fear. It was purpose. Raw, radiant, unstoppable purpose. And yet there was sorrow woven into it. Not the sorrow of defeat, but the sorrow of love, of a heart preparing to carry the weight of every human soul. The hour had come. Not the hour of political triumph, not the hour of revolution that many expected, but the hour the prophets whispered about, the hour that eternity had anticipated long before the world even existed. 4.1 The Final Supper, a table where eternity bent low. Elias remembered the upper room in Florence, a warm space lit with candles that cast golden flickers across ancient stone walls. Outside, the sounds of the bustling Italian streets drifted faintly inside. Footsteps, laughter, musicians playing soft melodies near the Arno River. Inside, however, time felt still. The disciples assembled around a long wooden table, bread, herbs, olives, roasted lamb. But the atmosphere felt different, like the calm before a holy storm. The origin light stood quietly, gazing at each of them with something deeper than affection, something like farewell. Then he did something unimaginable. He removed his outer garment, wrapped a towel around his waist, poured water into a basin, and knelt. The Son of the Eternal, the one who had walked on water, calmed storms, healed the dying, resurrected the dead, knelt before men with calloused feet, dirt under their nails, confusion in their hearts, fear in their future. He washed them, every one of them, even the one who would betray him, even the one who would deny him, even the ones who would run when the danger came. Elias trembled watching him. It felt like he was witnessing heaven kneel before earth. "Lord," Matteo protested, pulling his feet away, "you will never wash my feet." The light looked up at him, not sternly, but tenderly. "If I do not wash you, you have no part with me." Matteo swallowed, tears welling, and whispered, "Then wash all of me." But the light shook his head. "You are already clean." When he finished, he rose and said, "If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's. Greatness, it turned out, wasn't measured by authority, but by service, by humility, by love that knelt when pride demanded a throne. 4.2 A warning and a comfort, the dual mystery of his words. As they ate, the atmosphere shifted. A shadow crossed the light's expression, though his voice remained steady. "One of you will betray me." The room froze. Forks paused. Eyes widened. "Who is it?" they whispered to one another. Elias watched the light hand a piece of bread to Joran, who accepted it with trembling hands. The room's weight shifted. Joran stood, avoiding everyone's gaze, and slipped into the night. The origin of the betrayal had begun, yet the light did not curse him. He had loved him to the end. Then, turning to the others, he spoke words that burned themselves into Elias's heart. "A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another." It was a command that would reshape the world, not through force but through self-giving love. But the light knew his departure would break their hearts. So he spoke comfort. "Do not let your hearts be troubled. I am going to prepare a place for you." Then came the most mysterious declaration yet. "I am the way and the truth and the life." Not a path, not a philosophy, not a framework, but the way, the truth, the life. Elias watched their faces, confused, overwhelmed, yet drawn in by something too beautiful to fully understand. Then the light made a promise that would change the world forever. "I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper, the Spirit of truth. He will be with you, and he will be in you." It was a promise of presence, an unbreakable nearness, a replacement for the physical loss they would soon face. 4.3 The Vineyard Teaching. A final lesson on a life that remains. Later that evening, they walked through the countryside outside Florence where vineyards stretched across rolling hills. The night was crisp, filled with the scent of grapes, soil, and spring blossoms. It was here the light taught what Elias considered the most intimate parable of his ministry. "I am the vine, you are the branches. Remain in me, and you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." The disciples listened, their footsteps sinking softly into the soil. Branches only live because they stay connected. Cut off, they shrivel. But connected, they flourish. It was a picture of spiritual life stripped of complication. Life flows from him. Strength flows from him. Wisdom flows from him. Perseverance flows from him. Every good thing, every ounce of spiritual vitality flows from him. "Remain in my love," he said gently. "Not remain in rules. Not remain in fear. Remain in love." Then his voice carried something deeper, heavier. "If the world hates you, keep in mind it hated me first." He was preparing them for the cost of carrying light into darkness, a cost he himself would pay first. 4.4 The Long Prayer. Heaven's Door Opens. They moved toward a quiet olive grove near the river, lanterns flickering against the night. There, the light lifted his eyes toward the dark sky and prayed. Elias had heard him pray many times, but never like this. The words weren't whispered, they were poured. "Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you." He prayed for his mission, for his followers, for the world, then, shockingly, for us, for those who will believe in me through their message. Elias froze. Somehow, across time, across generations, across continents. The light prayed for future believers yet unborn. He prayed for unity. May they be one, just as we are one. He prayed for protection. Keep them from the evil one. He prayed for presence. Father, I want them with me where I am. Elias's chest tightened. The origin light wasn't only thinking of his disciples. He was thinking of the single mother reading scripture after her kids went to bed. The man fighting addiction in silence who longs for grace. The teenager wondering if God sees them. The elderly woman in a nursing home whispering prayers into the night. He prayed for every single one. The prayer was not only a farewell, it was a vow, a covenant of love that would stretch beyond centuries. 4.5. Into the garden, where the shadows finally move. The olive grove outside Florence was quiet except for the rustling of leaves. The light withdrew into prayer, his face set like someone walking toward a destiny only he could carry. Elias stood at a distance, feeling something eerie in the air, like heaven holding its breath. Suddenly, lanterns flickered in the distance. Voices approached. Metal clinked. Boots pounded the earth. A crowd emerged. Officials, soldiers, temple guards. Their lights glowed like hostile stars moving across the dark. Leading them was Joran. His face was a mixture of shame and determination, regret and stubbornness, fear and finality. He approached the light, hesitating before greeting him with a kiss. The light looked him directly in the eyes, not with rage, but with sorrowful compassion. Do what you came to do. Soldiers stepped forward. Who are you looking for? The light asked calmly. Jesus of Nazareth, they replied. The light spoke two simple words that shook the earth. I am. The moment he spoke, the soldiers stumbled backward, some falling to the ground as if struck by invisible force. Elias had never seen anything like it. Even in surrender, he remained sovereign. He stepped forward. If you seek me, let the others go. Even now, protecting them was his first instinct. Matteo, overwhelmed, drew his dagger and swung, injuring a soldier. Put your weapon away, the light said. Shall I not drink the cup my Father has given me? Then he touched the wounded soldier's ear and healed him. In the very moment of his arrest, he performed an act of peace. No resistance, no panic, no fear, only love, even toward those who seized him. 4.6. The trials, where injustice reveals its true face. The night became a blur of hearings, accusations, corridors lit by smoking torches, and shouts echoing off ancient stone. Elias followed at a distance, heart pounding. Inside the home of the high priest, leaders hurled accusations. They twisted his words. They brought false witnesses. They tore their robes in feigned outrage. But the light never defended himself, not once. Like a lamb before its shearers, he remained silent. Not out of weakness, but out of purpose. He had not come to escape death. He had come to embrace it. Matteo, terrified, lingered outside by a fire. When questioned by bystanders, he panicked. I don't know him. I'm not one of his followers. I swear, I don't know the man. Then the rooster crowed. Matteo's face crumpled. He fled into the night weeping. Inside, the leaders moved forward with their verdict. He must die. Injustice wrapped itself like a cloak around the proceedings, but Elias could sense something deeper. This was not defeat. This was destiny unfolding. 4.7. Before Pilate, the collision of kingdoms. At dawn, the light stood before Governor Pontius Pilate, who ruled from a Roman compound overlooking the sea in Nice, France, chosen here as a symbol of imperial power and political tension. Pilate scrutinized him. "You are the king of the Jews." "My kingdom is not of this world," the light replied. "If it were, my servants would fight, but my kingdom is from another place." Pilate frowned. "So, you are a king? You say that I am a king. I was born for this, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth." Pilate studied him silently. "What is truth?" he muttered. But he found no guilt in the man. None. Yet the crowd outside screamed, "Crucify him!" And the leaders pressed Pilate with political threats. In fear, Pilate handed him over. Not for justice, but for convenience. The light was beaten, mocked, crowned with thorns, draped in a purple robe. Yet, even bloodied, he carried a presence that could not be broken. When Pilate presented him to the crowd, he declared, "Behold the man." But they did not behold, they rejected. The hour had arrived. 4.8. Emotional conclusion of Part 4. Part 4 wasn't the story of a hero caught in tragedy. It was the story of love walking willingly into suffering. Elias realized something profound. No one took his life. No one overpowered him. No plan of men decided his fate. No betrayal forced his hand. He gave his life, and he gave it with unwavering authority, tender compassion, and unstoppable purpose. The origin light wasn't merely entering death. He was transforming it. He was turning injustice into redemption, turning betrayal into salvation, turning human cruelty into divine love, turning darkness into the moment light shines brightest. The world thought it was crushing him, but they had no idea. He was about to remake the world. The next part of the story would reveal a mystery deeper than pain, more powerful than death, and more beautiful than any miracle before it. Part 5. The dawn that rewired the world, from death to resurrection to the call that still echoes from the Gospel of John, the most mysterious and powerful story ever told. Elias would never forget the weight of that day. The day the origin light was lifted onto a Roman cross outside the city, on a hillside overlooking the sea cliffs near Lisbon, Portugal. A place where waves crashed violently below as if nature itself groaned with the heavens. The sky dimmed. The wind shifted. Everything felt wrong, yet somehow inevitable. This was not an accident. This was not a tragic end. This was the turning point of all creation. The hour had arrived. The hour the prophets whispered about. The hour angels watched with trembling wings. The hour darkness celebrated prematurely. And Elias stood there, heart shattering, not understanding that he was witnessing the greatest victory disguised as the greatest loss. 5.1. The Crucifixion, where love carried the weight of the world. The procession to the execution site was crowded with Roman soldiers, local bystanders, and religious leaders who had orchestrated this moment. The origin light staggered under the weight of the crossbeam, his body torn from the beatings, yet every step was intentional. Elias tried pushing through the crowd, but Roman guards blocked him. He watched helplessly as the light was laid on the wood. Arms stretched, nails hammered through flesh into timber, muscles trembling but not resisting. Above his head, they placed a sign in 3 languages: Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. Spiked laughter spilt from the religious leaders. Let God rescue him if he truly is his son. But Elias saw something different in his eyes. Not pain, though the pain was unimaginable. Not fear, though death pressed in like a storm. But determination, purpose, and love. Love wider than oceans, deeper than galaxies, stronger than any force that had ever existed. At the foot of the cross stood a small cluster of the faithful. Mara, the woman who first believed he could heal her broken past. Jonah, the youngest of the disciples, trembling openly. And his mother, tears carving rivers down her cheeks. To her he said, "Behold your son." To Jonah, "Behold your mother." Even in agony, he created family. Hours passed. Darkness fell over the land. Unnatural, suffocating darkness. Earth trembled beneath them. Then the light spoke his final words. It is finished, not whispered. Declared. A cosmic pronouncement. A victory cry. A seal on a battle waged since before time began. His head dropped. His chest stilled. Elias fell to his knees, choking on sobs. The world had murdered its maker, and yet, somewhere inside, a whisper suggested the story wasn't over. 5.2. The burial. Silence that felt like the end of everything. A wealthy follower named Aramat, known for his influence in the elite circles of New York City, courageously asked the authorities for the light's body. They wrapped him in linen, placed him in a new tomb carved into a hillside garden, and sealed it with a massive stone. Soldiers stood guard, ensuring no one could tamper with it. Night fell. Silence ruled. Hope evaporated. The disciples hid behind locked doors, breathing in fear and confusion. Elias sat alone on the stone steps outside a shuttered house, replaying every moment, every sign, every teaching, every confrontation, and wondering how eternal life could die. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. How do you sleep when the one who rewired your entire soul lies cold in a tomb? The hours crawled. Daylight came and went, and yet something stirred beneath the grief, a tension in the air like a taut string waiting to snap. 5.3. The empty tomb. When loss turned into revelation. Early on the third day, just as dawn brushed the sky with pale gold, Mara walked toward the tomb carrying spices. Her pace quickened as she drew near. Something looked wrong. The stone, the enormous, immovable stone, was rolled aside. Her heart pounded. She ran. At the entrance, she found nothing but empty linens, folded carefully where the body had been. Tears blurred her vision. She turned, shoulders shaking, and saw a figure standing behind her. "Woman," he said gently, "why are you crying? Whom are you seeking?" She assumed he was the gardener. "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where." Mara. Just her name, spoken with the same warmth she had heard countless times. Her breath caught. Her knees buckled. "Rabboni!" she cried, reaching toward him. But he stepped back, smiling with tenderness. "Do not hold on to me. I am ascending to my father and your father." Mara sprinted toward the city, not in grief, but in pure, overwhelming joy. Elias heard her shouting before she even reached the house. "I have seen him." He burst into tears. Relief, awe, shock, gratitude, fear and joy tangled into something indescribable. Death had not won. Darkness had not won. The grave was not the end. The origin light had walked out of it. 5.4. The resurrection appearances, when fear turned to courage. That evening, the disciples huddled behind locked doors again, still terrified that the leaders might come for them next. Elias sat in the corner, arms wrapped around his knees, trying to process the impossible. Suddenly, without any sound, movement, or warning, the light stood among them. No door had opened, no window had shifted. He simply appeared, brilliant and calm. "Peace be with you." A wave of warmth spread through the room, dissolving terror in an instant. He showed them his hands, still bearing the scars. His side, the wound still present, no longer bleeding. Elias felt his knees weaken. He fell into a mixture of worship and relief. The light breathed on them. Receive the Holy Spirit. And something awakened inside them. Courage, clarity, purpose. They had not just witnessed resurrection, they had received a mission. But not everyone was there that night. Thomas, known for his cautious mind and honest skepticism, returned to the house and listened silently to their claims. "I won't believe," he said, "unless I see the wounds myself." A week later, the light appeared again. "Thomas," he said softly, "put your finger here. Stop doubting and believe." Thomas collapsed in awe. "My Lord and my God." The light spoke words meant not only for Thomas, but for every future soul wrestling with doubt. "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." Elias never forgot those words. They felt like a gift reaching across generations, a hand extended toward every doubter, skeptic, and seeker. 5.5 Breakfast by the Sea, a love that restored what fear had broken. The days after the resurrection felt like suspended time, holy moments when the light continued revealing wisdom, comfort, and purpose. One morning, near the shimmering coast of Malibu, California, where the waves glowed pink under sunrise, Elias and several others were fishing. They caught nothing. A man on the shoreline called out, "Throw the net on the right side of the boat." They did, and the net nearly snapped from the weight of fish. Jonah whispered, "It's the Lord." Mateo, who had denied the light 3 times, jumped into the water and swam toward him with the desperation of a broken heart seeking forgiveness. On the beach, a charcoal fire crackled, fish sizzled, bread warmed. "Come and eat," the light said gently. After breakfast, he looked at Mateo. "Do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Mateo whispered. "You know that I love you." "Feed my lambs." Again, "Do you love me?" Again, "Yes, Lord." "Take care of my sheep." A third time, "Do you love me?" Mateo broke down, not because the light doubted him, but because the light was giving him a chance to undo each denial with a declaration. "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." "Feed my sheep." Elias understood then. Grace wasn't just forgiveness. Grace was restoration. Grace was a calling reborn. Grace was the love that rebuilds the people who thought they ruined everything. 5.6 The Final Commission. When ordinary men became world changers. Soon afterward, they stood on a hillside overlooking the ocean. A light breeze stirred. The sky glowed a warm gold. The light spoke to them with unmistakable authority. "As the Father sent me, so I am sending you." These men, uneducated fishermen, a tax collector, a political zealot, a former skeptic, were entrusted with carrying eternal truth to the world. Then the light said something that would shape history. "Go into all the world and proclaim the good news." He lifted his hands, those scarred, resurrected hands, and blessed them. And then he rose, lifted from the earth, ascending into the sky, disappearing into the clouds above the hillside. Elias fell to his knees, shaking, not from fear, but awe. The light had returned to the realm from which he came, but he had not left them empty. He had given them his spirit, his purpose, his mission, his promise, and with that, the world changed forever. 5.7 The Gospel's purpose, Elias reflects on why he wrote it years past. Cities rose and fell. The disciples traveled across continents, preaching, healing, suffering persecution, planting churches across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Elias, now an old man, sat overlooking the cliffs of Santorini, writing by lamplight as the Aegean Sea shimmered below. He wrote not to retell history, but to reveal a mystery. To tell future generations not just what happened, but why it happened. He wrote so people could see the light the way he saw him. Not merely as a prophet, not merely as a healer, but as the eternal one who stepped into time, walked among humanity, confronted darkness, embraced death, and shattered it from the inside out. Elias dipped his quill and wrote the words that would echo through centuries. These things are written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name. He paused, tears filling his eyes. Life, real life, eternal life, the kind of life he had witnessed firsthand, not measured in years, but in transformation. He realized then that every miracle, every confrontation, every teaching, every wound, every tear led to this truth. Light wins. Love wins. Life wins. 5.8. Final emotional conclusion of Part 5 and of Bibli. And so the story ends and begins. Because the resurrection wasn't just the climax of a sacred book, it was the eruption point of a movement that would outlast empires, cross oceans, change nations, heal families, and rewrite souls. It's the story of light stronger than darkness, truth stronger than lies, forgiveness stronger than betrayal, and life stronger than death. It's the story that still calls to anyone with a weary heart, a confused mind, a broken past, or a fading hope. It whispers, "You are loved, you are seen, you are wanted. Come and see." And just like Elias, we are invited not only to witness the origin light, but to follow him, to walk in the same love that knelt to wash feet, to carry the same courage that walked toward the cross, to embrace the same hope that rose from the grave, to shine the same light that still breaks chains in the darkest places. Because the story is not finished. We are the next chapter. If today's journey stirred something in you, a question, a spark, a deeper hunger for truth, then don't walk away quietly. Subscribe to Faith Thinkers, where we explore the mysteries of Scripture with clarity, depth, and heart. Turn on the bell, join this growing community, and let's keep discovering the God who still speaks, still moves, and still transforms lives today.